Merry Christmas BookTube, and in this first of two Christmas themed videos that you're going to get on this Christmas Eve, I'm going to be giving you my review of The Visit from St Nicholas or The Night Before Christmas by either Clement Clark Moore or Henry Livingstone Jr. And the poem tells the story of a father recounting a visit to the family home on Christmas Eve by Santa Claus to deliver presents. Though I'd never read this poem before, I did know about it because it is very much a classic in America for sort of Christmas literature. And of course, the opening line, which I will read to you, or to say opening lines, are sort of well known, even if you've never read the poem itself. The opening lines go, "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature stirred, not even a mouse." And so that's sort of that. Even if you've never ever read this, you'll know those lines because it's so iconic, and because the United States has such a large sort of global cultural influence. It's so well known now globally, and you can see when you read it where a lot of the sort of characteristics we recognise as being Santa Claus come from. He is described in this as a large, jolly man with ruddy cheeks and a cherry nose, very jolly, and he arrives on a sleigh pulled by reindeers. Interestingly, Rudolph the reindeer doesn't appear in this. However, a number of names that will sound familiar to do, and they are Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, in here Dunder, though that's Donna, and Blixen, though more commonly referred to today as Blitzen. And so it's very much, you can see the influence on the development of Santa Claus as a figure at Christmas. I should say Santa Claus as opposed to Father Christmas, who's a very different figure from the UK. And it's really nice, sort of heartwarming poem to read. Not very long. It can only take you about 10 minutes to read at most. Well, actually less than that. It took me a bit longer because this version is an annotated version by Darrell Rivers, better known as Darrell Rivers, who is a historian who covers 19th century Britain and America. And he has two YouTube channels. He has one which is not so active on anymore, called The Lord Rivers, because as well, a part of his sort of being historian is he does reenactments, and so he reenacts as von Steuben, who was the Prussian advisor to the Continental Army during the American War of Independence. And in fact, he appeared in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, where they do American Revolution reenactment, and he appears in von Steuben in that. And also, he reenacts as one of Ulysses S. Grant's advisors during the American Civil War, during his campaign down the Mississippi, and also another character who is not a historical figure, but just a general character he uses to explore sort of 19th century British life, is the Lord Rivers. And that's what the channel's named after. Though, as I say, that channel isn't particularly active anymore. However, his other channel, the Ministry of History, he is very active on, and he covers a lot of British military history and American military history. Well, also 19th century history, military history in general, but particularly focused on Britain and the United States, which I can highly recommend both of those channels, and I'll leave links in the description below to them. And in this, Darrell Rivers gives you annotations on some of the language. There's some of the shortened phrases, for example. There's turned is written in here as T-U-R-N, comma, no, an apostrophe, and then D, so the E is dropped, and he points out in one of the annotations that was quite common in the past to do that. And also that twas is shortened to it was. This is very much, I think, written from both the introduction for a younger readership, for whom sort of 19th century writing will be very unusual. And also at the back of this, there's in the appendix there is a recipe for sugar plums, which you can do, and I might actually give that a try at some point because it sounds interesting. And also, he has a small, very short essay on the who could be the authors of this. Because as I said in the introduction, I said that there were two authors, Clement Clark Moore or Henry Livingstone Jr, and there's a debate over who actually originally wrote A Night Before Christmas. And so Darrell Rivers gives you a short explanation of who the two were and a bit of the competing evidence for the two. And I can only recommend this. It's only about £4 altogether, and it's a nice little thing to have, and I genuinely enjoyed reading it, as well as reading all the annotations to go with it. So with that, booktube, I will say goodbye, and I will see you shortly with my review of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Bye, booktube.